Commander Jane Smith stared out the viewport of the Defiant watching the alien armada approach. Humanity had been part of the Galactic Federation for only 15 years when the Vrex Dominion launched their invasion. As the newest members, humans were expected to contribute minimally to the war effort, primarily through logistics, medical support, and minor defensive operations. Commander, we're receiving a distress call from the Tellurian fleet, Lieutenant Davis reported, his voice steady despite the chaos erupting across their tactical displays. They've lost their flagship and 3 support vessels. Their formation is collapsing. Jane's jaw tightened. The Tellurians were humanity's first allies in the Federation, the ones who had vouched for Earth's inclusion when other species expressed doubts about bringing such a primitive species into the fold. "What are our orders from Central Command?" she asked. "Still the same, Commander. Hold position and provide support fire only. We are not authorized for direct engagement." Jane watched the Tellurian ships, elegant crystalline structures that normally glowed with a soft blue light, flicker and dim as they succumbed to the Vrex assault. Federation protocols were clear. Each species had designated roles based on their evolutionary strengths. Humans were classified as developing tacticians with concerning aggressive tendencies. They were explicitly forbidden from leading combat operations. But the Tellurians were dying while the Federation's primary battle fleets were still hours away. "Lieutenant, send a message to all human ships in the sector. Tell them." Jane paused, knowing what she was about to do would violate direct orders. "Tell them the Tellurians saved our world from the comet impact of 2037. Today, we return the favor." Within minutes, the 12 human vessels in the sector broke formation. The alien commanders of other Federation ships sent frantic messages demanding they return to position, but the human captains had made their decision. "Standard human combat formation Delta," Jane ordered. "The Vrex have never fought us before. Let's show them why our ancestors conquered continents with nothing but sharpened sticks and determination." What followed would later be described in the Federation archives as the Terran anomaly. Human ships didn't fight according to the established doctrines of space warfare. They didn't maintain proper distances or follow predictable attack vectors. Instead, they fought like the predatory mammals they evolved from. They hunted in packs. They used feints and ambushes. They deliberately took damage to create openings. They sacrificed smaller vessels to protect larger ones in maneuvers that seemed illogical until the trap closed. When the Defiant lost its primary weapons array, Jane didn't retreat as Federation protocols dictated. Instead, she ordered full thrust toward the Vrex command ship. "Ma'am, our kinetic barriers won't survive a direct impact," her tactical officer warned. "We're not going to impact," Jane replied. "We're going to get in their blind spot and deploy our boarding parties." The Federation had never considered using boarding actions in space combat. The risks were deemed unacceptable. But humans had spent millennia perfecting the art of close-quarters combat, and the Vrex, accustomed to long-range engagements, had never developed significant internal defenses. Lieutenant Mark Reed led the boarding party. When they breached the Vrex command deck, the alien officers surrendered immediately, terrified by the sight of humans in combat armor moving with what seemed to them like unnatural speed and coordination. Across the battlefield, the story repeated itself. Human ships, taking heavy damage but refusing to retreat, disrupted the elegant Vrex formations. Human Marines boarded critical enemy vessels. Human tactical officers identified weaknesses in Vrex shields that the Federation's standardized targeting systems had missed. By the time the Federation's main battle fleet arrived, the human squadron had reduced the Vrex armada to scattered, disorganized pockets of resistance. The Tellurian ships that survived were already being evacuated by human medical teams who ignored standard triage protocols in favor of what they called battlefield medicine. 3 days later, Jane found herself standing before the Federation High Council. Commander Smith, the Archeran counselor, began, his multifaceted eyes reflecting the chamber's light. "Your actions saved the Tellurian fleet and likely prevented the fall of 3 Federation worlds." "Thank you, counselor," Jane replied. "That was not a compliment," the Archeran continued. "Your species violated direct orders, employed forbidden tactics, and demonstrated a disturbing aptitude for violence that confirms our initial concerns about humanity's inclusion in the Federation. The Tellurian representative rose. Yet they saved my people when your protocols would have left us to die. The ends do not justify the means, countered the Procyon representative. Humans fight like humans, Jane offered. We fight to win. The Federation eventually reached a compromise. The human contribution to the war effort was deemed essential, but their methods were judged too unpredictable and potentially destabilizing for galactic civilization. The resolution of restricted combat roles was passed unanimously. Humans would never again be permitted to engage directly in Federation conflicts. Instead, they became the Federation's strategic advisors, training officers, and emergency response specialists. A new division of the Federation military was established, the Human Contingency. Their ships were painted blood red, and their deployment to any conflict zone required approval from the full Council. As Jane departed the Council chamber, the Tellurian representative approached her. They fear you now, he said quietly, but they'll call for you again when they're desperate enough. Jane nodded, and will answer. That's what humans do. The Vrex Dominion never launched another full-scale invasion of Federation space. Federation intelligence later discovered that the Vrex High Command had added a new tactical directive to their military protocols. If humans are deployed, retreat immediately. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humans were never to be allowed to fight in galactic wars again, not because they couldn't, but because of what happened when they did.